First Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
Good morning and very warm welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning is my colleague Bandula Jayasekara and two other very special guests. But not before we tell you that 18 years ago a challenge was started. 18 years ago the Sirasa channel was born. 18 years later, despite many obstacles and challenges, we're still here and we have wholeheartedly become the People's Channel. To all those at Sirasa, our sister channel, we proudly say to you, happy birthday. Well done. And our guest this morning, and I'm going to let Bandula Jayasekara introduce you to them because he's so much better at doing this.
Because I think for us sometimes, I was taught at Trinity that forgetting is a blessing. At your old age, I know you forget. But let's welcome Jayanti Kurutumpal and Johan Piris.
Wonderful. The duo who climbed Everest. Is this are you the first Sri Lankans to do this, Jayanti?
Yes. Yes, we are, and we're very proud about it and honored to actually be here on your program as well.
Thank you for being here, actually, especially on the day that we are celebrating Challenge 18 years ago with our sister channel. But where did it all start? Where did you get the fever to do this sort of thing?
I think the fever has been something I've had since I was very young as a child.
Right.
I must have seen it on a documentary program or on TV or read about it somewhere. But I always liked climbing trees, climbing anything that came across my way as a child.
You're not scared of heights like Faraz?
No.
Oh.
Climbing mango trees?
Yes, absolutely. We had a tree house as well on our mango tree.
And what did you do when you climbed this mango tree? Did you
Get a good view as well.
Okay. Now you didn't sort of speak of Shakespeare when you were on the tree.
Not when I was 6 or 7.
No.
But you did sort of enjoy hanging around on the trees with I have an older brother, so it was just lovely to. And then Everest was always a dream. It was just that particular mountain,
Right.
which since I was young, which has always been a dream. And you know how people ask you, so what do you want to do when you grow up, darling? When you're very young, they do that all the time.
And you wanted to.
And I wouldn't tell people this because I thought they would think I'm a little bit mad. So I would think about it, but I would never vocalize it until quite recently.
And where did you start?
It was something that I used to do from those days, from the school days. It was my dad actually who got me into this. We used to go camping, we used to go climbing.
Right.
And in 2010, I did a trek to base camp. And when I did that, I saw Mount Everest for the first time. And I think that's where the whole thought was born.
Right.
And from then on, I've been wanting to go back there. We went back 2 years later and we climbed another peak called the Island Peak. And then we were wondering if we could do Everest. And from that time onwards, we've been researching and we've been trying to see if we could challenge this mountain.
And how, I don't mean this easily, but how difficult is the process of preparing to climb?
Well, I think preparation is one of the most important things because you don't wake up in the morning one day and decide you're going to climb Mount Everest.
Right.
So it was a few years actually. We've been planning this for about 3 years. We started off the whole planning process. And
when you say that, do you mean sort of administrative things or?
Lots of administrative things. We had to do a lot of research as well to find out what the obstacles would be, how we do it, what the process really is, finding the right company to go with, which is one of the very, very important things to do.
Right.
Choose the right company to go with as well. Safety-wise, what we need to watch out for, what we need to be aware of. So there was a lot that we had to find out. Lots of equipment.
And lots of fundraising, I'm sure.
Sponsorship, yeah.
That was the hard part.
How much does it cost financially to climb Everest?
So taking everything into account, the fees that you have to pay, the licenses that the company has to get.
Who do you pay that to? The government?
But everything is paid to the company, and then the company in return would get the license from the government of Nepal.
Right. So you did the Nepal side.
That's right.
Yes.
We did the Nepal side. There are two sides to it.
Yeah.
We did the south face, and it would cost each one of us about 10 million.
Rupees?
rupees per person.
Right.
That's the cost. That's for the equipment and everything together.
Janate, how many other Asians climbed with all this? Doesn't happen easily, but
Yeah, not too many because of the costs involved. I think we were the only team in our team who actually sponsored. Everybody else had come on their own fund. But how many Asians? We had a Japanese, the youngest Japanese climber. She was 19, and she had climbed all the other 7 summits, all the highest peaks in all the continents, and
Right.
Everest was
but
the
hardly
final
any
one.
South Asian.
But no other in our own team. She was the only South Asian or Asian.
Asian, yeah, but
South
no South
Asian, there was no South Asians actually, but on the mountain itself there were Indian Army people from the Indian Army. There were women and men, and I think that the Indians were the only other South Asians we met who were not in our team as such, but in other teams, other companies. But I didn't meet. There was the first Myanmar team as well this time, 4 boys.
And this sponsorship will come from Sri Lankan organizations?
Yes.
Yes, it did actually. Some of the main companies we went to, and we had lots of them who did come forward. Some of them didn't even want to meet us because they thought we were crazy to attempt.
But they wouldn't be too far off.
But what do they say now, Johan? What do they say now?
So I think
Conquered Everest.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody
At
wants
least
to
our
be a part of that whole-
and we know that our sponsors are quite happy, so we're actually quite grateful because this kind of expedition is pretty much out of your reach if you don't get sponsors who believe in your vision as well, of either taking something to new heights or new challenges, taking up challenges, having a new vision, taking things to great heights. If you don't share that vision and that kind of passion, and you're willing to take the risk, so we were quite happy that we had.
Jayanti, now having conquered Everest, you have inspired and encouraged the younger generation. What do they ask you now when they meet you?
Well,
Especially the young ones.
I know it's actually been quite overwhelming, the entire response, because both of us climbed this mountain not for all the glory of being the first Sri Lankans or anything, but having come back now, we did it because we both wanted to climb the mountain, and we didn't think of the post thing. We had too much to focus on going up. But coming back, it's been just overwhelming and amazing because so many young women have come up to me and said, thank you very much for doing this. It's amazing as a woman that you've achieved this, that you've done this. I feel inspired and motivated, and I do hope that there will be more young women taking adventure sports,
And
taking the risk.
and are you visiting schools? Are you
Yes.
visiting colleges? Are you
Yes.
taking your message?
So yesterday, actually, my own school, Bishop's College, invited us, both of us.
You went
for
to
their-
Bishops?
Yes, all my life.
Wonderful.
Yes, it
Wonderful
is
school.
definitely wonderful.
Our sister school.
St. Thomas's, okay.
No, not
No, St. Thomas's.
Okay.
But
But we spoke to the girls there at a special assembly, all the A-level, the senior students, and that was a fantastic
But Jayanti,
experience.
I'm trying to convince Faraz to climb Siripada.
Yes.
yes,
you
what
do that?
what are the physical? We're talking about madness earlier. It has afflicted my colleague, my friend. Stay down. No, honestly, but what are the physical requirements of climbing Everest?
Well, actually, I think physically you've just got to keep your fitness levels really high.
Okay.
Besides that, you've got to know what your body is capable of as well.
Right.
Because altitude sickness is not something that is restricted to age
Right.
or sex or anything like that at all. It's something that you really don't know until you get into the mountains. But because we have been climbing before, we knew that we were.
You've been climbing all sorts of other mountains.
That's right, yes.
Right.
Which can give you altitude sickness as well, because once you pass the 4,000 meter mark, you can have altitude sickness. So we had.
And what does that involve? What is altitude sickness?
Altitude sickness is there are 2 stages of it. It first affects your lungs, where there's fluid starts collecting in your lungs, and when it goes beyond that, it affects your brain, and there's fluid that starts collecting in your brain, and your brain starts swelling up. So there is 2 stages of it.
So that's quite dangerous then.
It's fatal. It's
It's
fatal.
fatal.
Yeah.
If it gets to your second stage, it's fatal.
Right.
And I think that's why there were a couple of deaths this time on the mountain, where they actually summited, and once they had done that, within 24 hours, they passed away.
Right.
Because you can't ignore the symptoms. Like you might have basic symptoms of headaches, loss of appetite, but beyond that, if you start feeling nauseous or feeling dizzy, you need to take account of the fact that if you continue, you can die actually.
What happens at that point? Do you take...
So you actually descend.
Okay.
Descend is your first thing.
Did you take oxygen with you?
Only after camp 3 that you get oxygen.
Right.
But I mean, it just depends on if you, at camp 2, if you start getting sick, then you can be put on oxygen and then you descend with oxygen. But generally, the entire team at camp 3, you sleep with oxygen when you get to camp 3.
And Jayanti, could you explain to our viewers about this camp 2-3 because they will want to know.
Indeed. We'll do that after we take a break, otherwise the producer will be shouting. So, on that note, we'll take a short break. Do stay tuned to Newsline. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining us are that amazing couple who climbed to the top of Everest. Tell me, these challenges, have you been... When you go to these schools and so on, is this a program that you've both undertaken to go and convey this message of challenge to the youth of our country?
I'll put it differently. How did your school receive you yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Let's start with that and then...
Yeah.
Well, we
That's
actually had a hero's welcome. It was amazing. It was just completely beyond anything I would have ever imagined. We had the school band, the ABC band, the entire band was playing. There was a school flag, the principal, vice principal and all the students and the prefects. It was in the main auditorium, so there was quite a huge crowd. And just very touching speeches, because my principal is also was my teacher, my A-level English teacher. So
that must have been of great pride.
Yes,
to
yes.
the
She
teacher.
taught me for 3 years, and it was just fantastic. And just seeing the girls' faces, and they were just thrilled to
And
have
what
us
did
there.
you tell them, Jayanti?
Well, we spoke about our experience, about our journey, the challenges, because everyone has their own mountain to climb. It doesn't have to be a physical climb. And we also spoke a lot about teamwork. I mean, because we went as a team, it's a 2-month expedition. I'm quite sure that I strongly believe because we went as a team is why we achieved what we did. And also mental strength is another factor. It's a huge factor. About 30% is physical, 70% is mental, in terms of just thinking positive, telling yourself you can do this, because if you think you can't do it, then your body just stops on you. It doesn't move.
It's remarkable what you're saying, because while you're saying that, I was thinking that you're talking not about your own climb up this wonderful mountain range, but I thought you were talking about our sister channel Sirisa, because today is their 18th birthday or their 18th anniversary, and they've been through these challenges, and it is the thought, it's we can do it, that has obviously kept going. Governments have come and gone, and all without fail have tried to encroach on our independence, but the company has kept its independence because obviously, like you say, it's the thought. If I can do it, I can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So much of that.
And Jayanti, I think we as Sri Lankans, we were sad. We watched this Facebook postings, and our mutual friend Kumar De Silva used to keep everybody posted with messages, all that. So we were sad that Johan couldn't conquer. And I'm sure you were more sad that he couldn't conquer. There was what really happened, Johan? You felt sick?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I think there was somebody who had reported saying that I didn't go due to health reasons,
Yes.
but that was corrected when we came back. It was nothing of my fault. It was nothing to do with me actually. There was quite a crowd that particular day that we were summiting, and there were delays on the way, so we had to stay in line. You can't. Some places so narrow that you can't bypass
That
a
the
line.
ladder is...
That's right.
Yeah.
Even beyond that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you're on a very narrow path, and the path to go up, your ropes are tied. It's very narrow, so you can't bypass people at certain points. And there were lots of delays because of that. And as a result of that, I think I ran out of oxygen. and at 8,400 meters, just 300 meters below the peak, so I could see the peak. It was just there.
How frustrating was that then?
Oh, it was. I think it's one of the hardest decisions that I have had to make in my life. It was very decisive.
So you must have oxygen for that last bit?
For
Yeah. On Camp 4, you really can't go without oxygen. You need
So
that.
there's no way that they could give you. Or
Not at that
Yeah,
point.
not at-
We had passed the point
Passed.
where we actually changed the oxygen tanks for the balcony, and once we had passed that, you have to. Your oxygen tank has to sustain you to do the summit and come back to the balcony again.
Okay.
So here, my Sherpa, who is
Yeah.
a very, very important part of this whole journey, said you have enough to go up, but you won't make it back.
Right.
So it was a tough call to make. It was a very decisive moment. But my immediate reaction was to say no, I'm going up.
But Johan, you have unfinished business. Will you go back?
I've been
Sure
asked
you
the
want to.
question over and over again. I'm split on that one. I said no, that I'm not going, because I think we took the challenge on as a team, and I think we conquered together. We went to the two highest points. Of course, I was very proud that time. My first question after that was, did she go up there? Because I was hoping that it was one of us who, someone got up there. Because the goal was to take the flag up, take the Sri Lankan flag up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once we came down back to Camp 2, we had both decided we had conquered the top of the world. I got to 8,400 and we got to the top, which is 300 meters more.
Sorry, but is that a permanent souvenir of your climb?
I'm hoping not.
Is that frostbite?
It is frostbite, and I'm recovering slowly. Well, it's time. That's the only thing that heals it.
But I saw recently a youngest, the Australian young girl.
She was there on that trip.
She was the youngest of the
Yes.
Australian. She's conquered, and I saw how well she was received in Australia. These are my views. I'm sure Faraz would agree with me, but we feel it isn't enough in Sri Lanka. The way it's a great achievement for Sri Lanka, but this is what Sri Lankans would do. They'll look at cricket, but not this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, to be honest, the media has been fantastic, I must say, and that's, I would also say, partly also because we had a fantastic team back at home, just 6 friends who volunteered to help us on this journey in terms of managing the social media. So they are the ones who would send updates to our parents and family and friends, just say that we are still alive, and then also update the social media page, inform all the media, whoever called and did articles before, talk to the sponsors, keep them updated as well. So when we got back, the media has been just fantastic in their response, and that itself has been wonderful, as well as other comments on Facebook and
Not the state. I mean,
not yet. So maybe we hope that the state would reach out to us, because we do feel that yes, this has
Do
been
you
a
have
national
plans on
achievement.
taking this message of challenge to all parts, all the provinces in Sri Lanka?
Yes, I mean, we would be very happy to do that if anyone approaches us. At the moment, we've just been overwhelmed with media interviews, but also there have been requests by the corporate sector for motivational speeches, many requests by schools to come and talk to students, which we haven't said no to. So we are just going ahead,
So that
scheduling
process
appointments.
is there.
That process has already begun. It's already begun, and sort of Rotaract Club, Toastmasters, to listen to us too, and we are very happy to share our experience, talk about the challenges.
the activists are very happy that
Yes.
you are an activist for women, and they are
Yes.
very happy.
Oh yes.
What about your profession, Johan? What do they? I don't
Well,
think
I
anybody.
I was going to say, what is your profession?
He's an actor plus, he's so many
I'm
things.
an artist, and I run a hairdressing salon. I'm a hairdresser by profession.
So do you mean to say that this business of climbing Everest is by the way?
It was actually, by the way, it was a hobby. It was a desire that that I wanted to
Well,
fulfill.
little wonder that your sponsors thought that you were a bit loopy.
And also, I think somehow they don't connect hairdressing and the beauty industry.
No, you're absolutely right. They don't. Absolutely right. What about you, Jant? What did you?
Well, I think I've had 2 things I've been passionate about most of my, let's say, since university, which is mountaineering and rock climbing particularly, which is a sport which hasn't developed here but hopefully will very soon, and mountaineering, and then women's rights, working for gender equality, preventing violence against women. And I feel this summit, the summit of this mountain, or just this adventure that we just undertook, sort of brings these passions together in a fantastic way, and that's also why I feel lots of girls have come up to me and said, this is amazing and thank you very much for doing it. And I'm honored to have been able to, and privileged.
And for us, we produced the world's first women prime minister.
I was about to ask a related question to what you're saying. Did you get a call from the former president, the lady president?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
She's probably traveling.
I'm sure.
She's late. She's always late.
Get on the phone, CBK. Come on.
She's late. You
your
want to give a
part.
call. But then there's this nice story, Jayanti, how you all met, how you reached out to Johan. If you could tell our viewers about that, that would be interesting.
Yes, so that was actually in 2012, and we had a mutual friend. We have a mutual friend, and so she got in touch with me saying, okay, there's someone called Johan and he was just planning an expedition to Island Peak, which is 6,200 meters in the Nepali Himalayas, so quite a high peak as well. And she said, okay, Johan and his friends are doing this expedition. It's about a 3-week thing. Would you like to join? And I sort of jumped at it and said, yes, please introduce me, because I didn't know anyone else in the mountain in Sri Lanka who would take 3 weeks off and climb a mountain in the Himalayas. I didn't know people like that. So the minute I found out, I jumped at the idea, and then I met Johan and asked him, is it okay if I join you guys? And then the journey began, and I think that's when we both gelled. And along the way you could see Mount Everest on that route. It's the same route from base pretty much. And then I told Johan, look, one day before I die I have to climb this mountain. It's been a childhood dream and it's something I really absolutely want to do. And then I asked Johan, would you ever consider climbing it with me? And for the first time I found someone who was willing to take that risk and the challenge, and also shared that same passion to climb Everest. So that's how our team began as a team.
And Jayanti, when you got to the top, literally to the top of the world, did you stand back? Did you take it all in?
Oh, yes.
God's creation?
Yes, absolutely. That memory would sort of be etched in my mind forever, because no photograph can do justice. I tried a few photographs, but it was a lovely day because the final section is a ridge walk where you just pass a Hillary Step, which is a huge rock, and then a rocky section to the summit. Rocky but lots of snow on either side. And the full moon, it was a Vesak Poya day, so I had the full moon on my left hand side and the sun rising on my right hand side. It was 4:45 in the morning at this time. So by the time I got to the summit it was about 5 o'clock, and just clouds far below you, nothing pretty much above you, but just the glow of the sun. And just absolutely, it's like being on a plane but you're on your feet. That's the view.
And how humbling was it, you're on top of the world and you're looking at this
amazing,
wonderful God's creation.
Yes.
And how humbling an experience was it?
It's so hard to describe in words. It was just such a magnificent, just fantastic, beautiful moment. And that's also why I also firmly believe that it's important to have a spiritual side to yourself as well, whatever religion you follow, because you realize this is just so large. It's just enormous, the entire mountain itself, and just getting up there, being able to get up there also, it was just fantastic.
How difficult was the return journey? Sorry.
Very, very difficult. That was the most difficult day, and that's also when a lot of people actually succumb to their death or die, because it takes 9 hours from the last camp 4, to the summit. Generally about 9 to 10 hours.
And how long, when you were up there, how long?
Only about 15 minutes actually, and the summit itself is quite small. It's a pinnacle. So as you get up there, if you look the other side, it's just Tibet down there.
Okay.
And then there are prayer flags on the top, and that's about it. So there were just 2 other people on the summit when I got there, and then it was amazing. Yeah, fantastic.
Must be the most exclusive meeting point in the world.
Yes, definitely. But the descent, as Bandula asked, is difficult because you're exhausted and your body is also deteriorating at this point, because you are in the death zone anything above 8,000 meters. That's when your body it's consumed all your muscles, it consumes all your fat because the food doesn't digest. And then it starts sort of consuming other parts of your body, but that's why you have to walk back down all the way to camp 2 which is another 14 hours. So it was a 24-hour day of walking up and down.
The Sri Lankan cricket team should hire you as the motivator. Faraz, don't you agree? They
Absolutely.
need motivation.
Johan, thank you both for being on Newsline, for sharing this wonderful story of challenge, and we're glad that you did it, and we hope that you go back, Johan.
Well,
Who knows?
it's something that I haven't
you may
even
do.
thought about at the moment.
Well, as soon as you get your finger back. And on this day of challenges, and on the day that Sirius TV, our sister channel, celebrates 18 years of independent people's broadcasting, we wish you an absolutely great day ahead. Take care and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz